Do it.
Welcome to On the Chain. This is Chip. This is Chip.
This is Jeff.
This
What
is
the
Jeff. What
Man, just 3 seconds in and it's already not even
3
this
seconds
is.
in. We're all
This
serious.
is, and then the third world, it's already the podcast is off to an awesome start. Hey, this is Jeff. We're switching places tonight.
Oh my God.
Hope you
That was
can be with
hilarious.
us while everything burns to the ground. Rome burned, and guess what? The whole world's burning as well. So
Oh man.
Did we get a
Welcome
review?
to On the Chain.
it's all
Let's start
it's
over.
live.
Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody in the chat sphere out there? Guess what? There was a brand new bill that's being dropped by Tom Emmer and Darren Soto. We're going to talk about that tonight. Also, your vote killed crypto. You know who you are. You're out there. It was your vote. Will XRP go to 0 or will it go to 589? That's what we're going to get into today, amongst a whole bunch of other great stuff.
Amongst.
So amongst a few other things, everybody jump in. Let's go. Who's ready?
Let's do it.
Welcome to On the Chain.
That certainly was a first. Hello, everybody. This is Jeff. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Chip.
Oh my God. What
I was
the heck
like,
was that
this
all about?
is, and then the third word, it's gone. It's over. It's it. Thank you, everybody. You know, it's like
Oh
we're not
my
even like
goodness.
3 words into it. That was the best ever. But that's
We
a
didn't even-
first, though.
That was
Jeff, I'm telling you what, that's going to become one of those things we play over and over again, you know.
At least our one listener from Nebraska is here with us. So welcome everybody to our live stream. We love reading.
Thank you.
And all
And
those,
good night. Thank you.
we love-
And good night.
It's on loop now. We love reading all those, the live chat where you guys are talking during the stream, because that's our show behind the show. Please remember to leave some comments on the video as well. So as you're watching, click that comment, and then those can be read after people go back on later and watch the rewatch. Those comments are really important. It helps YouTube's algorithms and it'll allow us to get recommended all around. And if you're enjoying the content, please support us by, guess what? Subscribe, turn on those notifications. If you're having an issue with the notifications, turn them off, unsubscribe, resubscribe, hit the notification. That always seems to help. And hit that like button. And if you want, also consider becoming a member of On the Chain. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. Guess where? In the comments, because we do happen to read those. That's all we got. Thank you very much, and have a good night. We got lots to go over. Chip, let's dig into, and I'm excited about this one, mainly because we haven't seen a positive crypto bill or positive crypto legislation in a while. So
2021,
it's
I think. I mean, a good one, right?
Yeah, a good one. And obviously, anything that happened previously to the red team taking over really went nowhere. Pretty much died in committee, which was typically the Financial Services Committee. But this is big because it's bipartisan. If you guys remember Darren Soto from Orlando, Florida, he is the co-sponsor along with Tom Emmer. And if you guys wanted to check out Tom Emmer here on the chain, go to onthechain.io, do a quick search up for Tom Emmer, and you can see the interview that we did with him. But this is really great. So if we look at this is Emmer's introducing a bill to provide regulatory clarity for blockchain in the ecosystem. This is absolutely outstanding. Darren Soto from where, Chip? The greatest state in the union, Florida, right here.
Free state of Florida.
District, the free state of Florida from Congressional District 9. So here we go. Crypto and blockchain technology by nature does not easily fit into the frameworks policymakers have considered when crafting regulation in the past. For too long, federal regulators and lawmakers have jammed the blockchain ecosystem into statutory definitions that just do not make sense. It should be simple. If you don't custody consumer funds, you aren't a money transmitter. My bill provides that necessary confirmation for the blockchain community. That's right from Tom Emmer. A lot of stuff going on here. He He also adds, this bill will help America remain a technological leader in the crypto space. Commentary from Darren Soto, and then we're going to talk about this. Darren Soto says, custody is an incredibly important issue that needs to be considered when defining which regulations apply to who. Darren Soto continues, I'm a proud supporter of Rep. Tom Emmer's bill because it is a step in the right direction policy-wise and provides helpful regulatory clarity for innovators in the ecosystem. So this is massive, Chip, massive that we're moving in a direction that could actually provide and bring about some normalcy.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because we haven't heard really from Darren Soto, and he was so active. He was really the top blue team member that was really into crypto. He's been a sponsor of the token taxonomy in prior. So it's really great to see this because guess what? It can actually go somewhere. We can get that new day that Tom Emmer was talking about. We've been waiting for that new day. But, if you know anything about the U.S. government and how it was designed and by our framers and founders, it was designed to be slower and with a little bit of gridlock because it shouldn't be that fast to just throw things through and then, oops, well, I guess we have to live with it. So pushing stuff through does take a little bit of time to potentially go through it all, right? That's kind of the way it was sort of set up from inception.
Yeah, and this was, Chip, this was introduced, just one more time, it was introduced in 2021 in the 17th Congress as HR 5045. So if you guys want to read about it, search up Tom Emmer, but then you can also search it up from 2021, and I believe they've added a little more to it. Here we go. Safe harbor for non-controlling blockchain developers and providers of blockchain services, protection for non-controlling blockchain services and software developers. Then they get into a lot of the important aspects of it. This is a stepping stone in the right direction, Chip. I'm excited about it. I think it's great, and it is now going to set the tone and the theme for everything else that we talk about tonight, because we're on the path for getting some regulatory normalcy in Congress, in the House. The question is, Chip, if it goes to the Senate, whether or not they're going to have the same appetite for it. I would love to see it get passed through the Financial Services Committee, get voted on by the House, get pushed to the Senate, and see them pass it and push it on and have it signed into legislation.
How great would that be? I mean, quite honestly, when you think about it, just how incredibly great would that be? I mean, I'm looking forward to the time. It's we talk about it all the time, Jeff, and it's to finally see something go through, man, just tremendously fulfilling. I think we're going to get there. By the way, James Rule put this up there. He said I was drinking, I don't know where it is right now, but he said I was drinking Kool-Aid. No, I'm not actually drinking Kool-Aid.
Drinking
but I get where you're going. I'm actually drinking this, James. You'll be my new favorite drink right here, which is, I'll throw it up on screen. Check it out right there. That is Athletic Brewing Company. That is the Upside Dawn right there. And
wow.
And it is zero alcohol, and it's fantastic taste. Beautiful.
Nice.
Just a great little thing. It's I think it's how many calories is 60 calories, something like that. But anyway, it's a nice refreshing drink. You'll really like it. So
there you go.
Why does it go back to that every time, Jeff?
I don't know. We're gonna have to find that out.
We're gonna have to figure that one out. We're gonna have to figure out how that works. So by the way, I see James Rule. Speaking of James Rule, Jeff, here we go. James Rule right here. Let's throw this one up there. James Rule tweeted this out. This is interesting. So leaders from Japan, the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, France, Germany, and the European Union expected to outline a global cooperative strategy for digital assets in May. Of course, I don't know, does the U.S. even deserve a seat at that table right there, Jeff? Because they've been so ridiculous. And so the rest of those countries, all providing clarity, all way ahead of the game, and the U.S. dragging its knuckles on the ground, right? This is kind of where we're at. So the G7 is going to collaborate on tighter crypto regulation. And then if we go over here and take a look at this here, this article says G7 to collaborate on tighter crypto regulation. Let's read down a little bit. Next G7 meeting might bring a push from the 7 biggest democracies for tougher regulations on crypto. You know how they frame that, Jeff? Tougher regulations, not like regulation clarity, but tougher regulations. The Kyoto News
control.
Yeah, so together, leaders from Japan, they tell us why. We already went through that. This year's summit set to happen in Hiroshima in May. among G7 members. Goes while the European Union's markets in crypto assets, MiCA, regulations set to go into effect in 2024, United Kingdom gradually developing its crypto framework with the special category for crypto assets on tax forms. Introduced recently, and plans for the digital pound are in the works. Of course, Canada treats digital assets as securities. Big surprise there. Look who's in charge of running that country, right? So that's all you have to think about there. The United States currently applies existing financial regulations to crypto, while some anticipating a crypto regulatory framework from lawmakers in the coming months. We just talked about what's on the potential horizon. And this one here, parallel efforts towards standards for digital assets are being made by the Financial Stability Board, the FSB, the International Monetary Fund, a giant scam organization, and the Bank for International Settlements, another giant scam organization. Group of the biggest 20. I mean, let's have a fund whose only goal is to elevate people to important positions who have zero say in anybody's affairs, any country's affairs, but they sort of feel like they're big and important, right? And
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. It's interesting. I'm looking at the chat, and people are bringing up some really good points. Things that have been happening. Kelly Slade said Russia just forgave a bunch of African debt too, and just reminding people that that we have South Africa as part of BRICS nation. Hands loaded is saying, why is the Kenyan president saying to sell dollars? As the markets, are other markets going to be any different over the next 2 weeks? What exactly is going on? And so that's where Ding Dong Daddy said, did anyone see Kenyan president saying get out of USD, which we know anyways, but what's going, basically it's been over the past few, but what's going on? It's kind of crazy. As we look around the world, and we know that you've got China orchestrating with the digital yuan. We know that there's a race and a rush, and not even just a race, it's a rush to get people into digital currencies. The fiat and the economies are crashing as they try to manipulate them. We're just starting to see, just kind of scratching the surface on the beginning of it. And it's going to be.
Jeff, I will say this. Say what you will about the US dollar. Yeah, laugh it off. Have a great time with that. But enjoy your digital dollar. You want to know why? Because your constitution will not stop it. And you know what? Neither will your legislators. But here in the good old US of A, there will be no digital dollar. There will be no CBDC. Now, a digital dollar perhaps, but nothing as a CBDC, right? It has to be legislated through Congress. The Federal Reserve nor the Treasury can go ahead and mandate that. And we're already seeing states step up right now. Florida is one of them that even Ted Cruz, senator from the great state of Texas, put forth a bill. I love this where we have it protected in the Constitution, but now you have to advance bills, Jeff, because you know that it takes 9 months to a year if it ends up in the Supreme Court. So you buy that leeway to persecute people, but you shouldn't have to put forth bills where it's already protected underneath the Constitution of the United States. So let me throw this up. That was one more thing I wanted to go through. But John Deaton commented on James Rule's tweet about the leaders from Japan, U.S., and United Kingdom, the G7. He said, which one of these nations is going to stand up and tell the United States, get the F out in your dumbass approach regarding the eventual adoption of blockchain technology? I'm going to go with 0 because I don't think the rest of the nations care. That's what I honestly think. I don't think they care what the U.S. thinks. I don't care what they think what the U.S. does. And they're already moving forward. So when you're left in the, when you're 10 cars ahead in a race, you don't look back, Jeff. That's one of the things they always tell you is that you never look back when you're leading the pack. And you know what? They don't care. And when you have fumble, dumble, goofy FJB out there, leading the pack there, it's even laughable at this point. So regardless of who they send and what they say, and the nations that are further ahead and know what's going on will get together and have a serious adult conversation. And the only adult not in the room, the U.S., will have to sit there and listen to why the rest of the G7 nations already have some clarity involved. They've already They're very similar in their approach, except for what John Deaton calls your dumbass approach and your get the F out. I love that. What I love about John Deaton, he's totally becoming unhinged and he's
Yeah,
letting it all fly. I love it. There's not anything holding back because we're frustrated. We're a little bit tired of it.
everybody's frustrated, Chip, and here he is. John Deaton has been at the forefront, really, battling, for this space. It's really amazing, as he stepped up and the recognition that he's now getting, for everything that's happening over here. So as we look around the world and we see, kind of this meltdown in the markets with and we've seen obviously the Silicon Valley Bank went down. We saw some issues with Credit Suisse, and we saw UBS stepping in to do some bailout. But now we're seeing some other concerns here, and Deutsche Bank is now also having there's a lot of concern there. So is this banking crisis? It's more than just in the U.S. So people want to believe it be more U.S. centric, and they did rush to the CBDCs and the digital dollar and all the crazy ways the politicians here are trying to react, and they're manipulating and massaging everything around. But what's going on over in Europe? So as our banking crises hits, how to impact.
That's what's going on over in Europe, Jeff. Just a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit,
Ew.
Yeah.
a little bit of that, and really, if you want to know what it
Crazy.
really comes down to, it's this.
Yeah, that's how everybody feels.
That's how everybody feels. And when and speaking of, honestly, John Kennedy, great senator here, is honestly just a national treasure. It's like there's so many. When it's all said and done and it's written and someone writes the final book on John Kennedy, there's so much there. There's so many one-liners, so many. But here's John Kennedy. This is a very short video clip talking with Treasury Secretary Janet. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's going on. Yellen. Okay, so let's listen into this thing. This is fantastic. There we go.
Debt up.
There we go.
So $51 trillion of debt up from 33 trillion doesn't bother you.
Hello.
I think
Hello,
the path
is
that
anyone
is
home?
set out in the president's budget is fiscally sustainable.
It's visually sustainable. First of all, the deer in the headlights look says it all, Jeff. Like, this is great. And if you guys listen on the podcast, she stares into space as if she forgot momentarily where she is or she's assembling a thought. But this, Jeff, this is hard to understand. Let's listen to
So
this.
$51 trillion of debt up from 33 trillion doesn't bother you.
Look at that.
I think the path that
I
is
think
set
someone's,
out in the president's budget is fiscally sustainable.
It's fiscally sustainable.
Oh my God! I think she's getting something. She's getting the answers sent to her in her earpiece.
So honestly, Jeff, so like,
Look at that
I mean,
delay.
yeah. So let's review this, okay? John Kennedy says $51 million up, $51 trillion from our current debt of $33 trillion. It doesn't bother you at all. Deer in the headlights. I fish everything. The budget is fiscally sound. This is guys. This is. I mean, if you want to just look, this is laughable. The United States has become laughable. It really is. I mean, Honorable Janet Yellen, no clue where she is. I mean, this lady here is in charge of the Treasury, Jeff. She shows up at hearings and doesn't know basic math. She doesn't even know the basic figures.
Well, yeah, that's the big issue too. I mean, here, well, there's a lot more issue, but they sit and they bring her in, they have the conversation with her, and she doesn't know the basics. And and the last time Kennedy, and it might have been that same interview, I don't know, and he was asking her about certain numbers. And they say, you don't know the numbers? I mean, this is your job. This is everything, your whole world. And she doesn't know the basics. She's way, way past her prime, if she ever had a prime. I don't even know if she was ever in prime to have the role that she has. Unfortunately, there's way too many people in power here that have jobs that they're not suited for, never were suited for, not qualified for. And it's evident, in the direction that the country's going in. Now, what's interesting is, as we see, the European banking systems are going to have a major hit and that's largely due to response and reaction to what's happening here in the US. But Chip, here's some really great comments. Here's one from Matt LaRoche. USA going to go full send French on CBDC issuance. A question I have is, how much has the Constitution been ignored thus far the past 100 plus years, particularly recently? And I think that part has been ramping up considerably as they ignore the Constitution, they do things, and then it ends up being settled in the Supreme Court or in court. And we see massive overreach, Chip.
Yeah, you can say that again. I mean, it's definitely happening over and over and over and over again. It's just it's a little bit on the sad side, but
that's right. Here's another one from Mark. Mark, we in the UK move too fast. We'll have our CBDC, and you guys will have the last laugh. Yeah, hopefully we move slow and we don't transition to into a digital dollar. And Kelly Slade was saying, I feel like we're all stuck in a nasty traffic jam. We can see the exit, but we're not allowed to get out of our cars. We have to wait. And can you imagine that feeling? And that's kind of that sums up the feeling right now, is that we know where it is. We can see it out there, and we just can't move because of this gridlock that they've created. One of those, and there's a big bumper sticker on one of the cars in front of us, that says Gary Gensler, or it's that guy that's driving, 40 miles an hour in the fast lane, and he's blocking up all the traffic and everyone's backed up for like a mile. And he's got that bumper sticker says, I love Gary Gensler. That's
nobody's, yeah. I don't think we'll ever see that, but it's possible.
XP Market, it's a shame that the U.S. has been very slow to adopt blockchain tech, but the world's a big place. It is. Here's one. Lamster was saying, how do we transition from 2023 to 2030 where we own nothing without a series of devastating crises? Doesn't look good for our heroes, in my opinion. It's a good one too. Man, these are really good comments.
But I think if anything, 2020 till now accelerated a lot of things, right? But it also accelerated we the people. We the people got into digital assets. We the people are not sitting down. We're not, it's not comfortable anymore. When people get uncomfortable, especially when it hits their wallets, their pocketbooks, then they start standing up. And I think what has changed, which has been a departure over, let's say, the last 25, 30 years, where stuff kind of went through and people are like, yeah, I don't like it, but hey, I'm at the pub, it's Friday night, and we'll think about it on Monday morning. I think what's changed is that a lot of it has to do with the people waking up saying, hey, this doesn't work for me anymore. I see what decentralization's bringing. I see the kind of control you want to execute over me and my family. At the end of the day, I mean, everybody has a family. They got relatives, friends. They just want to do good by them. They want to work hard. They want to have some fun along the way. And they do not want the government poking inside their business. And we've seen a lot of poking and prodding lately, especially with the element of control. And I do think that has changed. Who knows how it, Lamster Munfish, how that materializes. But I do think that is a solid development. And I think that's been a positive overall.
And Michael Murphy saying Japan is way ahead of everyone in that group. And here's another one, with Japan is lightning years ahead of where we are. Look how far back when we were talking, we've been talking about Japan and their adoption within the digital asset space, their banking system. We've seen, movement on the XRP front with Ripple, with ODL. Japan is definitely, light years ahead, as I think a lot of other areas in Asia and the rest of the world that we're seeing here. And then, Chip, here's another one from Michael J. Love. John Deaton's prediction, a major exchange will be sued by the SEC, came true. And they thought John Deaton was a nutcase. So Coinbase, come on in.
Talk to us. Should we get a nice, comfortable couch here? Speaking of the Constitution amendments, Bill of Rights, all that kind of stuff, throw this up here. Jeremy Hogan tweeted this out, which I thought was pretty good. He said, dear U.S. crypto people, the events of the last 6 months have made it clear that the Fourth Amendment has been breached. It is unfortunately time to retreat to the inner walls of the 10th Amendment. Please take a look at your state and ensure that you are where you want to be. And the Fourth Amendment, this has to do with search and seizure. And again, this came about because during that little spat we had with the the British early on, soldiers just come in and take over your home and just like barge in there and just like take over on unlawful search and seizures. They would just go ahead and be able to confiscate. So what he's talking about here, actually, I found a probably more like he tweeted this out about the 10th Amendment. This kind of says it right here. So the 10th Amendment, in simple terms, says the federal government only has these powers delegated in the Constitution. If it isn't listed, it belongs to the states or the people. Jeff and I talked a little bit about this yesterday, that there is a sort of decentralization. You got to remember, this is going back to 1776, and when the Constitution was ratified 20-some years later in the United States, took 20-some years to put it together, that there was a sort of a decentralization, that they did not want one government controlling everything. Yeah, there was the Constitution that is the end-all be-all, but every state operates differently. Some things, the laws in some states are different than others. There's 50 different states to live in, and each one of them has their own system of government. And what he's talking about here is the fact that when it comes to your state, what is what's going on in your state? In the state of Florida, we already know that the protections that Ron DeSantis, the governor here for the red team, already drafted a bill saying that there will not be any CBDCs here. And then people are arguing the constitutionality of that. But again, one of the greatest things, Jeff, is talk about states' rights, right? The whole idea of the founding of the country and the states having their own set of rights that all our sit under the umbrella of the Constitution. But again, if you didn't like something in one state, move to another state. Simply put.
That's simply put. I like that. I think it's definitely spot on. Some other great comments that we'll get to here in a minute. But Chip, I want to bring this one. I want to get your thoughts on this. This was Charles Hoskinson, creator of Cardano, and his point, and straight off the title of the article, because we all know nobody likes to read the article. You just want to look at the title and hopefully that it's actually accurate. But he's saying here, U.S. government waging war on crypto, urges industry leaders to step up. And he, in fact, does do that here in the article. So he said it's very clear that the executive branch is conducting a war against crypto. In this particular executive branch, they say one thing, they do another thing. So publicly, they say everything's great, but then privately, there's choke point 2.0. And, I like that, choke point 2.0. And that's kind of what we're seeing going on here. Thank God for Tom Emmer and others getting ready to step up to the plate. But what are your thoughts about that? Is this government currently waging a war on crypto? And if they aren't the voters ultimately then responsible for putting those people in charge?
No and no. I don't want to get into particulars here, Jeff, but let's just say that no voters put what we're seeing in charge today. That's the best way I can sort of put it without getting just being very careful there. So no, there's the difference between elected or installed, right? There's a sort of a question behind that. So
the unelected bureaucrat.
The unelected bureaucrat has become very troublesome because unfortunately, what I would like to see the next person step up and do is talk about a smaller government. Reagan did it. Reagan was like, we got to eliminate the size of the government, which he did in his first term. He cut a lot of the government. But by the end of his second term, the government was bigger than it ever was. So this huge mammoth, you want to have some oversight, but the SEC, the CFTC, the three-letter agencies, all this, it's a bloated government. It's going to be fraught with corruption. The bigger it is, the worse it is, the harder it is to control. So, when it comes to your, when it comes to he put up that Gary Gensler picture, and it like makes me laugh because he has like that F word he's mouthing there. But when we think about, Jeff, when we think about like all the things that are good and holy and what we should be doing and where we should be going, let's just cut down the size of government, get rid of it. I love that bill. What happened to that bill and what the red team had that said abolish the IRS? It's good. Get rid of it. This national tax, that was another thing that if you look at when we go back to the founding of the U.S., we go back to the Federalist Papers, they talked an awful lot about this national tax. But of course, income tax found its way into, but that wasn't supposed to be part of it either. So, Matt LaRoche is on point when he talks about how much of it's been ignored. I would say too much of it has been ignored. We were never set to have a central bank. We got rid of the first two. The third one's ready to go. I hope it happens in my lifetime, but I think it happens within the next 2 to 5 years. That this whole idea of central banks, this kind of control where you have a third party, you have no clue what they're doing. It's not a sovereign currency, and they're worried about issuing more and printing more. And let's look at your balance sheet. Let's audit the Fed. I want to see the red team audit the Federal Reserve. And then when that comes out, man, will people be angry when they see what that looks like? Then all of a sudden, that'll spread worldwide and chaos will ensue. But I think that's where we have to head, Jeff.
So yeah, that's a really good point. And at the end of the day, we have to expect that. And here's the clincher. So Coinbase, Brian Armstrong has stepped up and has been outspoken. Jeremy Powell from it is Jeremy Jesse Powell from
now Jerome
now Jerome Jesse Powell, previously of Kraken, CEO of Kraken, and many others. Obviously, Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple. These guys have been on the forefront. And then we have Jeremy Kaufman from Library. Think about how outspoken each one of these individuals has been, but we need more of that. So if each one of the leadership teams of these big companies get together in one room and now start appealing to government, and fortunately within the House there's a kind ear to crypto. Obviously, what we went over earlier with Tom Emmer dropping that new legislation with Darren Soto from Orlando, and that's bipartisan. Remember, Darren Soto is on the blue team, Tom Emmer is on the red team. These two guys got together not just now, but they got together in 2021. Not only that, but Darren Soto has always been on the forefront trying to fight for the positives here with the digital asset space. And he was with Warren Davidson back in the early days with the Token Taxonomy Act. So we need more CEOs, more builders in the space stepping up to the plate and getting together with those that are favorable in Congress and saying, you know what, enough's enough. It's time we do the right thing. And they start putting massive pressure on this guy right here, because this guy, he's the one that, again, he's driving 40 miles an hour in the fast lane and we can't get around him, and it's driving everybody crazy.
Little, sometimes, when you ever see him tap the back of that car and it just puts it into a spin, just like the cops always tap that back end. That's what we need right there. But Jeff, I thought I would just go into sometimes I'll drop a reference, some kind of a culture reference. When I'm talking about Jesse now, Jerome, let me harken back to the days of Morris Day in the Time. You're best known for the appearance. I can't play the audio on this, but this is where I came. When I always say Jesse now, Jerome, there was a time during Jungle Love that they would take out a mirror and they would Jesse now, and then Jerome would step up here. But this is it. I can play it in the background, but this is what it would look like. He would get the mirror out. He'd check his hair to make sure that was cool. Then they would just do a little bit of a dance right there. You guys best remember this from Purple Rain. And they would OEO, and yeah, Jesse now Jerome. So that's so funny when I say Jesse Powell and Jerome Powell, Jesse now Jerome. So there you go. Sometimes I explain these cultural references. Otherwise, I look like, what the hell are you talking about, Chip? What the hell are you talking
about, Chip?
I don't know. Anytime anything comes up with music, someone says a word, and I automatically go back to a song or an idea or something along those lines. But yeah, I thought I'd drop a little Morris Day, and something I haven't thought about in a long time, Morris Day in the Time. There you go.
Yeah, there you go, man. We got legendary Bullfrog in here with us. Look at that cool Bullfrog on his
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Was a good friend of mine, Jeff.
So legendary Bullfrog said, hey guys, glad to be here with everyone. Cambodia's largest bank is now utilizing Ripple. They're also discussing blockchain and CBDC. Man, I wish these guys would stop talking about CBDC, but you know what? I get it. I understand the idea of why governments want to talk about CBDC to control the sovereign, the sovereign reach of them controlling the financials, the money supply, etc. But we don't always like it. We don't like the other elements of it, which are the lack of privacy and everything else that they can do as a direct result of that. So we got to be very, very diligent and very careful on accepting this idea of transitioning at such a rapid pace to a digital form of currency, or a central bank digital currency, or a digital fiat. Mainly because if it's just a digitized 1 and 0 fiat where they can't program, it has no programmability, awesome. As soon as they enter that programmability aspect of it, like we talked about yesterday many times before, go get your gas. You did something wrong, you're not getting gas anymore. And that's how it works. So, hey, just want to give a quick shout out to Matt Hamilton. What's up, Matt? Joining us here.
Matt. Yeah, I was commenting on Matt's daughter. It looks like she's putting together a pretty cool track. They were in a recording studio. I was like, there's some talent going on. So, yeah, as I always say, the apple doesn't fall too far from that tree. It's a different sort of talent, but man, it was pretty good, Matt. I was enjoying. I can't wait to hear what that ends up sounding like. I thought I wanted to jump in this right over here. Check this out. So that article we talked about yesterday, Jeff, that was completely ridiculous about, Ripple got the history wrong, the drop the Madonna reference, all that weird stuff. This is how desperate we are for news right now. And this, you always got to, so somebody will tweet this out and then 30 people will tweet it out, but nobody actually spends time reading it. Fortune article says Ripple and XRP could succeed regardless of the SEC outcome. Now, Jeff, out of that whole article, that was like one byline, right? So they're going to write a whole other article based on that article. In a recent newsletter, crypto editor Jeff John Roberts asserted that Ripple's finally found a long-term value proposition. Like, how bad can it get? Okay, look, when it's a bad article. By the way, Jeff, can you pull that article up? Or I don't know why I can't find it in the Keep. Something happened. I can't find anything in the Keep. But anyway, I pulled that article up. Toss it in the private chat there. But
we talking about the one from yesterday?
Yeah, that one from yesterday. I couldn't find that in the Keep.
I archived yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's why I couldn't find it. So
yesterday was a long time ago.
Yeah, but the whole point of this one was they wrote a whole article about this ridiculous article that he wrote about Ripple's had more identities than Madonna, and they can't figure stuff out, and MoneyGram and told them to go pound sand. It's just it was a junior article, to say the least. And then here's another one written about the same goofy article. And they wrote a whole article about this somehow, and they apparently missed the whole rest of the article. But anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. Someone had tweeted that out. Thought that was pretty interesting. I don't like when you archive stuff because then I can't see what's going on. I don't like that.
Yeah, well, you can't keep it up in the other part because then it.
Well, the other part, then I can't find it
down over there. You just search it. Hence
can't find it. Can't find it. Nobody knows where it's at. What else we got up here, Jeff? Anything else? Is that it? Is that the end of the show? There we go. That's the end of it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Anybody, and good night.
So we actually have this great, there's a great video that we have that we want to play, I think, or we already played it. So we have some great articles. There's actually a tweet storm that we're going to cover here in a minute. Then we got this. No, I mean, let's not
talk about that. Let's not go there, Jeff.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about Eleanor Terrett, because she came out and she put out a tweet. She has some industry sources that came out and had some commentary. And so her industry sources abroad, that means not in this country, that means somewhere else.
Thanks, Jeff. I wasn't sure about that. I was just going to ask you what that meant. I was like abroad, because like in the 40s, it meant something else. Oh yeah, so this broad walks into a bar, right? See?
Yeah, see?
Yeah, see? And so this broad walks in, right? So I go up and talk to her, see? She's
just wanted to make sure.
She's a good looker, looking for a gentleman caller, see? So it's like thanks for putting the context of the broad, Jeff.
You got to put the context here, Yeah,
I wasn't sure. I thought
listening, they might not be
like, yeah, call her abroad, see? Yeah, she walks in.
Jenny
goes out, whiskey straight, see?
Jenny Ellen might be listening, so you got to put it in a perspective.
Wait, let me do my best, Jenny Ellen. So this, I think it's completely sustainable. $20 trillion over the next 2 years, completely sustainable. Wow, Jeff, that train left the station a long time ago, and she wasn't anywhere near the train. She wasn't even
Yeah.
near the station, and she didn't even have a clue bag to reach in and grab. She's clueless.
She she didn't even have a ticket for the train. So
No,
there you
none
go.
of that either.
That didn't even start. So industry sources abroad tell me that Gary Gensler and co. have been lobbying their UK and Canadian counterparts to pinch the crypto industry in the same way as the US. The FCA, which is over in the UK, which regulates financial service firms and markets in the UK, there you go, is preparing an announcement. So, not 100% sure. We had some conversation with someone earlier that said, I don't know if that's going to be 100% accurate, that the UK really cares too much about what Gary Gensler has to say. And so that's going to be very interesting. But Eleanor Terrett continue here about tightening restrictions in the coming week, while Canada has already announced sweeping crackdowns against the industry. Well, we know that Canada pretty much follows suit. Whatever this administration does, they do plus plus. And for those saying this is incorrect, the correspondence is at the very least certainly taking place. And here you go. Here's the meetings, phone call with staff, SB standing committee, blah, 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 meeting with another staff, call with staff. And there's a lot of calls and meetings with staff. Meeting with Nico Rothi, Chief Executive, United Kingdom Financial Conduct Authority. There you go.
It's
Now,
like flashing like crazy there.
man, it's crazy, right? What's
There's some
flashing?
weird- No, that cursors were going all over the place there.
Yeah, so over here, Chip, what about Crypto Caesar? This is incorrect. The FCA have been fairly crypto friendly. Plus, the UK are leaders in law and regulation and do not look to the US
Ever.
ever on that front. So your sources are likely incorrect. Now, her source was the actual meeting. So there's a meeting with the chief executive directly from the FCA. So Gary is having a meeting with the FCA, with the executive from the FCA. Now, the meeting's taking place. Gary Gensler could very well be trying to push them and coerce them into doing the exact same thing he's doing. But to Crypto Caesar's point, it could very well be that the UK would just say, you know what? We don't take anything from you and you can forget about it.
There you go, Jeff. I like that. And she's, you remember that we had Ellie Tarrant on as well, and she reminded us that she is a Brit. She was born there, and she's also British. I think she has dual passports.
That's
I
right.
believe. So she is British. She's like, hey, as a Brit, that's encouraging to hear. But again, I don't think maybe her assertion's wrong. I mean, based on what she was looking at, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's some meetings, and we know kind of where this guy stands. We know what they want to do. They're getting so out of control with this. It's no longer funny. Let's put it that way.
Jeff, can you read that?
Pork chops and applesauce.
See? There you go. And speaking of songs and Gary Gensler, yesterday, Gary Gouger came just yesterday. Seems so far away. I'm going to do it my Janet Yellen voice. Seems so far away. Gary Gensler's. Gary Gouger. Yeah. Thanks for that support, K-HUD. K-HUD, #1 in our book of all time there. So K-HUD, yeah, yesterday. By the way, K-HUD, who knows who wrote yesterday, by the way? Does anybody know who wrote yesterday?
Don't know.
I do. Go ahead, throw it in there. First one that throws it in there gets the gold star. Throw it in there. Who wrote it? Not the group, but the actual person. It was credited to people, but that we know the actual person that. And the person that actually wrote it woke up in the middle of the night and originally had scrambled eggs. I believe it was scrambled eggs, and it turned into yesterday. Who has it in the chat? Nobody yet, Jeff. I'll be monitoring to see. Darcy says
while you're
internet of
monitoring
value.
it. Oh, so internet of value is coming for you. But let me throw up this one here from Crypto G. He said, hopefully the FCA announcement will be, hey, Gary, GFY.
Go F yourself. Go F yourself. F yourself. Yeah, I like
Prince.
that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people throwing in their commentary.
Yeah, well, that's close, but I said it's not. It's credited to Lennon and McCartney, but who actually wrote it? Who penned it? Ray Gun, Ray Run. Come on, let's go. A little. Ringo did not pen it, but thank you, Digital Words. Appreciate that. No, it was not Lennon, but it was here. Boom. Brian Hurton got it. It was Paul.
Really? No kidding.
Paul McCartney wrote it. Yeah, of course. I'm a big Paul McCartney fan, so I know all that. A lot of useless trivia, Jeff. Like, if you come up, I can quote
Well,
a
that
lot
was
of
very
useless
helpful
trivia
right
nobody
now.
cares about. Nobody cares, Jeff. Nobody cares, but it's like
Yeah,
stuck in my head. I feel like I need to get it out of there.
you got to let everybody else know what you're suffering with.
Yeah,
XRP Lyric
that
said
too.
this is going to backfire on the Dems in 24. They're severely mistaken. They've severely mistaken the crypto community, and it's not just the XRP community this time. They will have to contend with. They're going scorched earth, but they also went scorched earth on the meme investors, anyone that was into GameStop or AMC or any of those guys. So they've pretty much pissed off that entire group. They've gone after all of crypto. They're really trying to put the thorn, and they're poking everybody directly in the eye. And we saw that directly from the mouths of the SEC in their filings against Ripple as they singled out XRP holders. And I wish we should have kept that snippet, and we can probably go back and try to find it. And they said something about how XRP holders aren't that technically savvy. Do you remember that whole statement? One of their attorneys came out and said something about that. It's just absurd.
I
Absurd
know,
stuff
Jeff. There's
goes
so much
on.
weird stuff. So this year, if we think about this,
Hey, talking about steak.
talking about steak, Jeff, let me pull up a good
And I'm
steak.
sure we were just talking about steak. Filet,
There you go.
medium, side of vegetables. Be really nice.
Yeah.
Nice bottle
There
of
you go.
wine to pair with the steak. And then, we could pick a good steakhouse, maybe like Burns Steakhouse or what was that other we were mentioning a steakhouse? Look at
Just
that
look
steak.
at that, Jeff. That's incredibly beautiful, right? Just look at that. My God, I can't wait to.
2203. You see that steak? See
We're
that
gonna be
steak?
enjoying
Look
that.
how great that is.
My God, that is just a work of art, man. It's just fantastic, isn't it?
For
Just
those of you guys that don't know, so Coining 203, we all have a bet, and Coining 203 has graciously offered to buy Chip and I a nice steak dinner. So,
well, it was a little. It
vis
was a bet, Jeff.
vis-a-vis a bet of
Yeah.
the end of the SEC v. Ripple case, going to settlement or actually going into a decision. So here we go.
Look at that, Jeff. That looks fantastic. So yeah, I mean, there's still hope. I mean, it could settle, right? It could
Coining
settle.
203 seems to think so.
I love it. Right to the end, he's sticking to it, Jeff. That's his stick, and then he's sticking to it,
Well,
right?
Well, he can't
Which
back
is-
down now. We
Which
got
is not a bad thing. Yeah, I mean, you know what? You go down to the end. I mean, look at the captain of the Titanic. He was right there to the end as well, man. He was right there. So billionaire Jeff Chamath Palihapitiya says that predicts a corrosion of the economy. He says the federal rate hike could cause real damage. No, really? I mean, this is like great. Billionaire venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya says that he believes the Federal Reserve did the worst possible thing by raising interest rates by 25 basis points. Everything's burning down. The banks are closing, shop. They're getting bailed out left and right. Jerome Powell's like, don't worry, won't do a full basis. We'll do a 25 basis points, and the crisis. So in the all new episode of the All in All podcast, Palihapitiya says that the Fed should have hiked the rates by 50 basis points, which he knows might trigger panics in the short term, but will eventually expose what's fundamentally broken in the system. That's the best part. I think they should have raised 50 basis points. It would have created a little more chaos in the short term. So he wasn't arguing against the rate hike. He wanted it to be more. But why not go, why 50 basis points? Why not keep going, right? He says it was fundamentally broken. Still give the Federal Reserve the ability to use their balance sheet and liquidity in the future to solve the problem. They took the worst option, was neither they did not cut it or they didn't raise it enough. And I think it's high time we acknowledge that we have a sticky inflation problem we have to break. And we've known since the Volcker area that what we need to do, which is what you need to get interest rates to be greater than the terminal inflation, which means 5% Fed funds rate is insufficient. So we're going to need this to print at least 5.5% to 5.75%. All right. Well, there you go. There you have it. There you have it, Jeff. And there it is.
You have it. DK said, I'm just an engineer. What would I know compared to the technically savvy folks at the SEC? That was commentary from before. So I like that.
It's good, but that's spot on right there. And if you're paying attention, Jeff,
spot on from how they believe.
Look what's going on in the rest of the world. So Fujitsu is interested in
Lots of
crypto
great things.
trading service, right? They
And
filed a
they've been at
trademark.
it for a while. Fujitsu has been in this whole blockchain crypto space for years, and this is amazing. Pay attention to this.
Yeah, they filed it with the United States Patent Office, revealing its intent to offer brokerage services for crypto trading among other crypto and non-crypto financial facilities. So meanwhile, while
Interesting.
Gary Gensler has his head up as you know where and can't figure stuff out how clear it is, can't tell us, just name one, one cryptocurrency that has where it's all so clear that it's decentralized. Can't tell us that. But meanwhile, Fujitsu's been at this. We've talked about this for I think a couple years now. They've been striving in this direction. According to the official document filed on March 16th, the branding is dedicated to offering where did I lose my place here? Consists of a new mark which consists of the stylized Fujitsu with a sideways S-shaped swirl over the J and I. According to the official document, branding is dedicated to offering financial services, including accepting deposits, financial loans, financial management, and the exchange of crypto assets. But don't worry, the U.S. is doing their little song and dance where they play stupid. And if you want to know what that looks like as far as stupid is concerned, I just got this little video clip to show you,
$1
Jeff.
trillion of debt up from 33 trillion doesn't bother you.
Deer in the headlights. Come on.
I think the path that is set out in the president's budget is fiscally sustainable.
They're
So
going down
51
with the
trillion.
ship. They're going down with the ship, Jeff. It's fiscally sustainable. Wait a minute.
They're going down with the ship.
Nearly
just
doubling
like,
it is sustainable.
Yeah, just like Mr. B and Coining are going down with their ship. They're going to stick to it to the end. But at least there we get a free steak with this. Fiscally sustainable. What in God's name are they thinking? It's insane. Insane. Look at it. Senator Kennedy's like, what in the world are you? Look at, he can't even imagine, like, nobody can even fathom this stupidity, right? How do you even?
Yeah, we just have to go to the blank stare. Fiscally sustainable.
Look at the delay.
This is the person running the treasury,
The
Jeff.
path that is set out in the president's budget is fiscally sustainable.
So $51 trillion of debt up from 33 trillion doesn't bother you.
Is set out in the president's budget is
like
fiscally sustainable.
So 51 trillion.
My God.
It's like, wait a minute. Did you understand? Listen, did you understand the question? Because I doubt there was a understanding of the question there. So Jeff,
I don't think she understood it. But that delay, the delay was crazy.
They're in the headlights. Delay. She was like, look in the headlights. Here's what I love about this. Check this out. So every 2 weeks, almost like without fail, India is going to ban crypto, and then 2 weeks later, oh my gosh, breakthrough! India is the epicenter for crypto, and then 2 weeks later, they're gonna ban crypto. And then 2 weeks later, then they're not going to ban crypto, and then 2 weeks later, they're going to ban crypto again. Well, Jeff, hang on to your hat, because guess what? It's 2 weeks later, and guess what's happening? You guessed it. India's crypto adoption rate could surpass that of the US and the UK by the year's end. Okay. This is great to hear. There's no doubt about it, but it's like, and this is a reputable source, Crypto Potato, which you have to follow because it's always putting out probably the best stuff out there. But if you look at this, here we are over here on Crypto Potato.
But it's true. It is
true.
But it's
over 150 million crypto users by the end of 2023. So according to a recent Statista report, India's community could surge to more than 156 million members by the end of the year. Most people expected to jump on the bandwagon are educated, younger individuals that are smarter, better than you, and way happier than you. I just made that last part up. But middle income status who seek alternatives to the shaking banking systems. In other words, they don't trust the status quo. They don't trust the government. What they do trust is having it on their little, they're having their key and their access to unlock it on the blockchain in their pocket in their little in their whatever cold storage wallet they're using to protect their keys.
Then you give 100 XRP to every man, woman, and child in India, and then that's it. You're done.
You're
No
done and
more
it's over,
XRP.
man.
That's it. Done. But it's amazing over there.
Look, it's
I
the
mean, you
Utes.
think about the Utes. The
Utes
Utes are
between
definitely the Utes are gonna have a big
18 and
impact
40.
on what happens over there. Man, it's amazing, right? Because like you said, India has been hot, cold, government. They don't know what they want to do. India did push a large percentage. They were, had an aggressive push to move everybody out of paper currency over to digital form, but not specifically digital currency, not a digital representation, but just trade it on your phone, have your rupee that way. But now, man, it's impressive if they make that happen. India's on the brink of being one of the greatest countries in the world, like one of the biggest economic powerhouses ever, just based on sheer size, and they're gonna outshine China hands down, just based on the fact that they love freedom a little bit more than they do over in China, and they also don't have an aging population like China does. China has some major issues coming down the pike with the age of their population, and they are not like in India. It really has some really amazing opportunities, and hopefully they do the right thing here, because Chip, it could go the other way next week and they can be like, nah, that's it. We're not in favor of crypto anymore. But India is the country to watch in all of this.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't make any sense why India would be in bed or working with or accepting in any way, shape, or form the digital yuan. Let's leave it at that.
And this article too, crypto reform coming to the U.S. in 2023, says former White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney. And I'll read the pull quote because we're getting on time here. It says, I do think in this Congress, which got functionality about 14 to 16 months left before it sort of shuts down before the next election cycle, you will get meaningful piece of legislation on blockchain/crypto, what we're referring to collectively as digital assets. So that's what Mick Mulvaney is saying right there. And let's just hope it happens. There is some optimism, but we need to advance that out of committee and let's get some conversation going. Less conversation, more doing.
Chip, I just realized, what is a Ute?
A Ute.
Yeah, so Desert Fox probably got it. What is a Ute? But maybe a lot of people out there.
My cousin Vinny, if you guys watch My Cousin Vinny, Joe Pesci in the movie says Utes. And then, of course, Fred Gwynn, who played the judge, famous for playing Herman Munster in the Munsters, that old TV show, said a Ute. What's a Ute? So that's where that came from. That was My Cousin Vinny, another reference. We'll make a lot of cultural references here. What's a Ute? A youth. He meant to say youth, but he said a Ute with his New York accent. He said Utes, and that's all the time we have, Jeff. Gosh, look at the time. How did it get away from us? Really,
we flew by. We got enough time to throw up one Yeti.
I don't have any Yetis, Jeff. Maybe I have one.
You got one, just one.
Let me see. Where are we here? Where's my Yetis? Where's our Yetis, Jeff? We got tons of Yetis. Let's see. That's what we got here.
Look who's here. Eric Martinson. What is going on, Eric Martinson?
Oh, we hung out with Eric. Eric is one of the coolest guys ever. I've never seen somebody more optimistic and enjoying life. Like just his aura just shines through. It's just phenomenal. Loved meeting him, hanging out with him in Miami. Man, what a great time that was. Hopefully we get to do that again soon. Yeah, it was a super blast, man. He's a very cool dude. If you guys aren't following him on Twitter, go give him a follow, man. He puts out great content, tweets, and he's also clued into a lot of, when you think about NFT projects, he's also into a lot of NFT projects, which is also cool. So let me go ahead. Let's just look through a couple Yetis here, but our Badass Yeti series, hopefully we're definitely launching with the next 3 weeks to a month. We're getting there, guys. There we go right there. These are close. These are part of we're launching the Blue Tribe. This is one of the Mentalists that's broken into several sub-tribes here. And then
the Mentalist.
Here we go. Let's go to the next one.
Cool.
The Mentalists. Look at these Mentalists. They're badass. There's one of the tribe. This tribe right here is called Spirit Walkers. Check that out. There you go. So that is the Badass Yeti series. Again,
exciting.
the forefront of launching a Badass Yeti brand, but this will be the kickoff of it. Also looking to have product out there as well. Super excited about it, guys. And don't drink the tap water, says Brian Hearn. Don't get near it.
Don't drink the tap water. Just a reminder to everyone out there. Real great. And Eric was saying, love them. Love them.
That's
Nice.
awesome, man. Yeah, great to hear that, Eric. Yeah. If Eric says they're good, they've got to be good, okay?
Is that a yelling Yeti?
Oh my God. What the hell? A yelling Yeti. Thank you a yelling Yeti.
Nice.
Yeah. No, we're not going to sour the badass Yetis. They're way too badass to be putting the word yelling in the same sentence with. So that's what we have to do. Coining says he's in communist China. I mean California.
Oh, no, where he is. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's a good one, man.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you and good night, everybody. So DJ, remember the DJs talk like this. So we got a little song coming out doing great things. So this is a little. Thank you and good night.
So anyway, there you go, guys.
Thank you and good night.
And good night. Yeah.
And good.
I think it's fiscally sustainable. It's fiscally. No, Janet, it's not. And you need to report back to whatever home you left. I think there's an APB out for you. They're looking for you, searching with a searchlight out there. So appreciate it.
And just a quick shout out to everybody out there. You guys are the best and the brightest in all of YouTube crypto space. You join us here. Join us. Prepare to pay. Remember to join us here 3 days a week, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are awesome. Remember to hit the subscribe button on your way out, hit the thumbs up on your way in or your way out, and we'll check you guys out on
Ray Run says steak. No, not that kind of steak. We're talking about the physical meat steak. Yeah, that's the one. So Hans
steak.
Loaded says smash that like. Eric says smash the like button. Guys, a lot of smash the like buttons. Whoever's still listening, whoever's still here, one watcher.
And leave a comment on the video as well.
Guys, comments help us out tremendously. Please leave a comment. It can be, you can write as BZ always writes, the obligatory comment. That's it. That's all you need, man. Just pop it in there. Thank you and good night. Hit the like button. Appreciate that one eye. XRP rocks. What's going on? Good to see you. Like. Good night, all. Jim D. We haven't got a Jim D tonight. He always puts some great stuff in there as well. Great jobs, man. Keep it up. We'll check out the Yetis. Well, they're not up yet. We'll let you know, Eric. They're not quite up yet, but they will be launching sometime soon. We'll let you know with the exchange. But the good news is, as a lot of people say, that we'll launch on the XRPL. So we're getting that blue tribe up there. And first one will be a limited engagement. There'll be 589. Where do we get that number from, Jeff?
Marcel. 589. That's
589, baby. 589.
That's how many Yeti you're going to launch. That's all we got, Chip.
That's all we got, guys. See you guys on the next one. Jeff and Chip. Oh, see you guys.
Are you down with OTC?
Actually, I should say Jeff and Chip out. Or is it, wait, Jeff?
Wait.
It's Chip. Wait, it's Chip and
I
Jeff.
can't remember.
That was the best ever, Jeff.
Welcome to On the Chain.
By the way, I'm going to make that. That's going to be one of our clips we play over and over again. I'm going to have to play that clip. It's like, welcome to On the Chain. This is Chip. And I was like, dude, it was like the third, like we just, that's kind of like how it goes. Jeff and I like to have a lot of fun. We like to goof around here. But anyway, I thought that, awesome. Yeah, this is Jeff and that's Chip and we're out of here. So there you go.
We're out of here.
See ya.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.